Hello friends, welcome to Helping Testers. So in this session, what we'll be talking about, some of JMeter inbuilt functions. Now, what JMeter has done, it has implemented some functions of its own. For example, let's say sum feature. So it is already implemented there. So it was an example. So JMeter has some of the functions which are already there. How you can find them? You can just go to the options and you will find here functions helper dialog. When you click on this, you will find a list. That in this list you will find the functions which is provided by JMeter. So let's start. So we will start with the first JMeter function, that is a thread num. So if I scroll down, that is it start with T. So we'll find here thread num. So when you select that thread num, it is saying it does not asking for any parameter here, right? So and you can generate your command using this generate option. So it has given me this. So by using this, you can use this thread num function. Usually how functions are used, that is first the dollar symbol, then the braces. So if we inside, if don't use these double underscores, then it becomes a variable. But when we are using a function, you need to just give two double quotes and it becomes your that function name. So if I use this function name, I can use this thread num variable. If you want to get the details what actually this thread num is doing, you can click on help here. So the details would come here. So it is saying the thread number function simply returns. Okay, the thread number function simply returns the number of threads currently being executed. These numbers are independent of thread group. So it returns the number of threads currently being executed. Okay, so let me copy this and let me add a thread group, and in this thread group I will make a sampler. For learning purpose, I am just using this Java request. I will name it as request 1 and I will save my test plan in my videos. I will make a new folder and will name it as JMeter functions, and I will name this JMX file as thread num. Now let's see, let's also add view result tree listener and save it and run it now. So you can see, sorry, so it is just giving me the request name. The reason is that I have never used this function, thread num function. So let's say I want to print the thread here. So let me just paste it here, the function which we have created using the options. That is the thread num function, dollar symbol, braces, and for using of the function we use two double underscores. Now let's run this. So you can see it is giving 1. Let me use two thread groups and now run this. Right, you can see that for the first thread it is giving the first, then the second. Let's say I am using a loop here or two also, looping of 2. I am using one thread and looping of 2. If you see here, it is giving 1 1 not 2, because what we are doing here, we are using only one thread and looping it, while on the before case we were using two thread groups. Let's say I'm using two thread groups and looping for 2 times. What would be the result? Just guess it. See, the first thread would come and 2 loops would be executed. Then the second thread is coming and 2 loops is executed. So similarly, it is giving thread number 1, 1, 2, 2. So this is how during the execution you can check which request or thread is being executed by just applying the name, or it is very important for debugging purposes. Developers use to exactly find what's the reason is why the script is failing. Then another function that is known as JavaScript function. So let me first save this script with a name of JavaScript. So I'm using the old script. I will make changes to the old script only to save the time. So I will write JavaScript, and let me delete this thread num function being used. Right. So let me go to my functions here and let's search for JavaScript. Yeah, this is the JavaScript function. And if I go to the help section, you can see the JavaScript function executes the piece of JavaScript code and returns the value. So what you can do here is, okay, so what you can do here is you can add the JavaScript code and it would be executed. So it has two parameters. The one is mandatory and the second one is optional. The mandatory one says that JavaScript expression to evaluate, that you need to add some let's say coding for JavaScript which you want need to be executed. So suppose there is something I want to need to do in JavaScript is that this is my first name and my last name. So I will ask from JavaScript to combine both of them and print as Vaibhav Gupta, a single name, right? So that is, I would be concatenating two strings. So in JavaScript, how concatenation is possible? I can write Vaibhav dot concat, right? And what thing I need to concat this to Vaibhav is single, that Gupta, right? So you need to concatenate this name Gupta to Vaibhav, right? So this is how you can execute a query in JavaScript. Now I want to execute this query, so let me copy this and paste it here. Okay. Now what the next option is saying, name of the variable in which to store the result. Suppose this query is returning any result, and where I need to store it, I need to store it into a variable. I can use this name. Okay. So this is a JavaScript function being developed. So one is saying the script you want to execute, and the another is saying if you want to save that result to a variable or not. So what we have done, we have concatenated my first name and last name in this using JavaScript. Let me generate the code. So this is the code being generated, that is $symbol, braces, start, number score for the starting of a function. This is my function name. So the first parameter is of my code and second parameter is the variable name. So let's see, let me copy this and let me paste it here after the request. I will clear the old result and will try save it and will run it now. Okay, so it is executing in loop since I have mentioned here loops. Okay, now let's see. So what it is printing? It is printing me Vaibhav Gupta. That is correct. Suppose I want to add a space here also, so it's look pretty decent. So after the request, it is concatenated both the strings Vaibhav Gupta and printing Vaibhav Gupta. Now suppose I want to print this name as well. This is a variable. What we have asked in this function is execute the JavaScript and save it into a variable. So this is the variable, and we already know that how we can access the variable name. We can access the variable name using the $symbol, braces, and then variable name. What was the variable name? It's just the name. So I can mention here that print the value that is having the variable as name. Okay, and that's all I think, and let's make it at global level and run this now. Save this and run this. See, we can print this, or we can also save this result of concatenation in a variable name, and we can access using that variable name as well, as we have done here. Here we can see how we can execute our bean shell scripts. So I will just save the existing JavaScript with bean shell, and I don't need this, or I will just remove this, and I will delete this function. Okay, so let's see about a bean shell function. Let me explore. Yes, bean shell, and click on help. Now bean shell function evaluates the script passed to it and returns the result. So it is just similar to the JavaScript. The difference is JavaScript executes the JavaScript code and bean shell executes the bean shell code. Now what is a bean shell code? Actually, bean shell is a lightweight interpreter for Java. So it is just as Java, a lightweight Java. So you can execute your Java code here. So in JavaScript, this is how we concatenate the two screens. Now if I need to do this activity in Java, so how I can achieve this? So you have to write webhub, and you can use the plus symbol, and you can write Gupta. So Java is smart enough. So this plus works with integer, double, or string, any of the data type, because Java is smart. It identifies, okay, these are strings, so plus means that we need to concatenate. So I need to do a similar activity in Java, that is bean shell. So I will paste what I need to do, and similarly in what I need to save this result. So I will save this result in my name, and I will generate the code for this. So this is the code of bean shell that is generated. Now let me paste it here. What it will print me? It will print me my full name, that is Vaibhav Gupta. Let's see, save this and run. Okay, so it didn't do. The reason is that I added this function to thread group but not the sampler. Sampler is the one that is executed, not the thread group. Thread group main objective is to generate the thread stats only. Let me save, clear the old result and run now. So you can see Vaibhav Gupta is printed. Also we have a name here, so I can use this name as well. We know how we use the variable name, simply the dollar symbol and braces, and the variable name, in our case it is my name. So I write my name. I will save this and run now. Okay, so it is not printing. It has just printed me the string name. The reason is that, okay, the reason is that here I have declared the variable as my name with the N capital, while what I am using is my name. So this function does not exist, this variable does not exist, so JMeter is just treating it as a string, as JMeter is a case sensitive. So if I make it capital N and would execute now, you can see it must be working fine. Yes, Vaibhav Gupta. That's perfectly right. So this is how you can use your Java code, because bean shell is a lightweight Java interpreter. So you can execute your Java codes here and you can fetch the results. So that's all for this function. Next function, and that is machine IP. If I go to the options and if I see in the drop down, so there is machine IP. So as the name suggests, the machine IP function returns the local IP address. So it will returns the IP of my machine. And here an optional parameter which states that if you want to save that into a variable or not. Okay. So we are not using it, just click on generate, so it gives me how you can use your IP. So in my request I would use this IP and I will say machine IP, right, and I will add a listener view result tree. I will save this plan as machine IP and machine name. We will be covering machine name also, right? And let me run this. So it has given me this IP. Let's verify this if it's giving the right result. I will go to my command prompt and I will write ipconfig, which will give me the IP address of my machine. So it is correct, 192.168.1 and 3, and that's perfectly right. So similarly, as we have machine IP, we have another JMeter function, that is machine name, which results the machine name of the current machine. So let me add another sampler, and this is I want to print, that is the function giving the machine name, and I will write machine name this, and let's see what this machine name is coming now. Okay, so that was the machine IP and it is giving me the machine name now. So this is how you can use this machine IP and name in your test cases, in your test scenarios. So what you can do, you can fetch these results into a variable name and you can then use this variable name in your test scripts. That's all. Thank you.